After 7 days on a barge on the Canal du Midi in 1998, I still had several days to kill in Marseille before catching a flight back to the States. I decided to use a different hotel than the one I stayed in at the boat port. Instead, I selected a hotel at the upscale-sounding Bassin du Palm Beach. Well, the hotel only sounded upscale. It was off-season, and I was one of the few guests. The weather had turned warm for October, but the heat was still on in the hotel, and the room did not have any way to turn it off. The hotel manager promised to fix that, but in the meantime, I spent the afternoon on my balcony. I did have a nice view of the small boat harbor and watched the activities of the local sailing school. Sailing schools in France are definitely more rigorous and demanding than most in the U.S. On this day, I watched an instructor in a large rigid inflatable guide a student on what looked like a laser sailboat out of the harbor and into the Med. The mistral that was blowing that day had died down a bit, but the wind was still blowing over 20 knots, and the seas in the Med were around 5 feet. Here's that student and instructor returning to the harbor. Watch what happens when the student gets into the shelter of the harbor and turns dead downwind.